Okay, here's a quick video of how to install the Momentum QuickBooks connector. Basically, the connector is the interface between QuickBooks and Momentum and must be installed on the machine where you find your QuickBooks data files located. So bring up a browser on the machine that has QuickBooks on it, log in, go under Administration, Client Programs, and then click on QuickBooks Connector. Window will pop up in the background. Click on Install and install the application. Okay, so this little process will be running always on this machine, and what you want to do is fill in a couple fields. First of all, the user ID and password is a specific user ID and password needed so that the Momentum system can connect to the QuickBooks connector. And what I mean by that is this does not have to be the same user ID and password that you use for Momentum. In fact, this user ID and password should be something that's only known to the accountant or the owner. You still have to log in Momentum with your own user ID and password, but in addition, accounting-wise, you will need to supply this user ID and password to connect into the Momentum QuickBooks connector. So I'm just going to use Curtis right here and my own private password. Company file. This is going to be the QuickBooks data file that you use to open. If you leave this blank, it will use the opened QuickBooks on this machine. So in other words, if you have QuickBooks up and running on this machine always, you leave this blank, it will use that file. If you also specify in your dealership record the directory to look at for the QuickBooks data file, it will use that also. But we'll just leave it blank because I'll show you a couple more steps in a minute on how we can hook this differently. Connection mode, don't care, it's fine. If you really want it, you can put it into single user mode, so anytime you do updates from accounting, you'll only be in single user mode. There may be some organizations that want that, but in general, don't care, works fine. And just to show you a couple things, we'll enable logging, and then I'm going to click Start. Okay, now we have the QuickBooks system open, and what we need to do is a couple of quick setup items. First of all, underneath Edit, Preferences, Integrated Applications, Company Preferences, you want to make sure that Notify the User before running any application is selected. If that's selected, hit OK. Next, we will go back into Momentum, and I went to the dealership record. Underneath the Accounting tab, I set my file name to where it's located at, and this is actually my QuickBooks file and where it's located at on the main box. Once I'm done there, I can then go into Accounting, QuickBooks Posting, and it will bring up this little data file. And what I'm going to use is my user ID and my password, and 300 and 300, and say connect. And if all works well, we will get a dialog box in QuickBooks that comes up and says, hey, an outside program wants to talk to this program, is it okay? And I basically say always allow it, even if it's not running. Continue. Yes. Done. Now what will happen is QuickBooks will sync up with Momentum, and in a few minutes you'll see that data comes back, and we'll see, do we have any vendors set up? We have Parts Unlimited. Do we want to copy it to QuickBooks or not? All my GL records, all my term records, and any inventory items I have. Quickly going back to vendors. The reason why you don't see anything in QuickBooks is that I've not set up my vendors in QuickBooks yet. So what I would do next is go back into QuickBooks, View, let's see, go into Vendors, select a vendor like Alpine Star, and edit. In the additional info, you'll see that there's types. All the DMS types were created by the QuickBooks DMS connector. So what I would need to do is go through and select the suppliers that I want to show up in Momentum. So I can go OK on that one, and let's go down here and pick, let's see, Aprilia, edit. And Aprilia is actually a manufacturer, and say OK. So now that I've done a couple of these, let's go back over to Momentum. and say reload. And now you'll see that these two show up over here because they've read these records from QuickBooks and asks if it want to copy them over to Momentum. To further show you how the mapping works, I'll go over here to QuickBooks and let's pick Parts Unlimited. Where is Parts Unlimited? And I'll edit this one and set this guy to a DMS supplier. Say OK. Go back over here, reload the data. And now you'll notice that QuickBooks has a Parts Unlimited, and it's going to map it to the Parts Unlimited in DMS. So this is where you can map things back and forth. You'll also notice that I have all my inventory records, my general ledger account records sitting here, and all my QuickBook term records sitting here. So if I say submit, what will happen is it'll actually copy this information to and from Momentum. Syncing up now the terms and GL records, and looking for inventory records to sync up. Okay, we're complete. So now, if I look under my administration dealership tab, I can now go underneath accounting, and if I want to set, say, my documentation income fee account, these are all my GL records that I have for setting documentation income, and I can say, let's set, I don't know, this one to other products, and default dealer income account, other products also. Update. And now the mapping is set. Anytime I have a base of document income fee, it will map to the GL account of other new products. The default income is here. Now, we allow you to map anything in any way you want. I'll have another video on how the mapping actually works and how you should set up your initial dealership. Hope this helps. Bye.